We appreciate you being here. And this first session is just an introductory section. We're going into where we're going with this study, basically of Genesis 1 through 11, integrating the biblical text, but very strong in the sciences and history. And Michael will be handling the biological side of things, and I'll be handling some of the exegetical passages, the exegesis of these passages, and then also on the physical science side. We've titled this thing, The Strengthening of Your Faith, Genesis 1 as history. And some of this is the question is why would you want to concentrate on this? And there's been a controversy recently in the Christian world, especially the evangelicals, for about 30 to 40 years, and going back almost a century and a half, there's been an infiltration of naturalistic thought. And if you go back to the theologians of the 1800s, even the Hodges, A.A. Hodges and Charles, his son, you get into some of them strong. You get into people like B.B. Warfield, Machen. Down to the present time, most of our seminary professors now would not hold to historical, what we call a historical, grammatical approach to Genesis. So it's led to a battle for the world's heart and soul is what I've titled this first one. There's a battle for the heart, the world's heart and soul. It's creation versus naturalism. A battle is raging for the hearts, minds, and souls of everyone in the world. That may seem to be an overstatement, but as we delve in this thing, you'll see why it's so critical for everyone, because people act according to what they believe. If they believe a certain thing, then they'll act according to that. If they, as you see people, interestingly enough, will devote often more times to their going to a Chiefs or a football game, pro football game, or even a university football game, than or planning a vacation than they do to their eternal destiny. And so it's kind of an interesting thing, but the stakes are very high in this battle. The combatants in this are creationism versus naturalism. They're the main combatants. Naturalism presently has captured our modern culture through the educational institutions, political systems, legal systems, the media, the arts, and even major religious institutions. What's the ultimate trophy of this battle? I once had a nephew that was asked an interesting question. When you win a war, what do you win? And we thought about that. That was a serious question. And you end up, if you're a military army and a nation, you inherit a destroyed nation. That's what you basically win in a war. In this war, it's different. We're not talking about the conquest of nations. We're talking about the conquest of individuals and where they end up. The ultimate trophy of this battle is the eternal destiny and souls of everyone in the world. Again, that may seem like an overstatement, but when you think about it, all of us have a destiny with time and death and eternity. And the stakes are very high of where we end up. The modern culture is based on naturalism. Naturalism, we'll see, is a universe that's without God. You don't need God for the naturalist. Creationism is based on a universe and life created and molded by God. Atheistic naturalism, and that's what it is basically, atheism, naturalism is, because it's without God, and biblical creationism have stark differences about the origins of the universe and life, about human society and the purposes of life, about the destinies of the universe and of life, and finally, about the struggle for the hearts and souls of the world. The modern culture and the Bible have two widely different views of the universe and life. The Bible holds to a historical account of the origins of the universe and life. Modern culture, in contrast, claims that the naturalistic science destroys the truth of the Bible and God's creation of the universe and life. Modern culture has a godless universe appearing out of nothing and evolving upwards over billions of years of time into very complex supergalactic systems and into complex life forms such as humans, all without God and without a supernatural creator. The Bible of Genesis, in contrast, sees God creating a perfect universe and perfect life systems on the earth in less than 7,000 years. The universe and life are now devolving downwards in death and decay because of man's sin and God's judgment. The modern culture asserts that all physical phenomena have atheistic and naturalistic explanations. All matter, to the naturalist, all matter and energy is eternal. The laws of science happen by chance. The universe came from a Big Bang or some other similar type of cosmology. Life arose by naturalistic evolution of time and chance. Lastly, they think that the universe continues forever. Let's contrast that with what the Bible asserts, and particularly in Genesis. God created the universe ex nihilo, that means out of nothing, and formed the life on the earth supernaturally less than 7,000 years ago. The earth established the law, God established the laws of science, but interacts with the universe occasionally and supernaturally with miracles. In other words, they're violations of the laws that he established at the very beginning to run most of the universe. God judged the universe because of man's sins with three things. One, the curse with the fall of man at the beginning. Secondly, with the worldwide flood at the time of Noah. And lastly, with the division of the mankind in races and languages at the Tower of Babel. God in the future will destroy the present heavens and earth and establish another eternal heavens and earth without sin. These are widely different views. The foundation of the Christian faith. Modern culture attacks the Bible using atheistic naturalism in two forms, basically. One is the evolution of the origin of life, and two, old universe cosmologies for the origins of the universe. Modern culture uses naturalism with its false claims, and it's destroying the intellectual and spiritual lives of many Christians, especially youth. The liberal churches have joined forces with atheistic modern culture built on naturalism against orthodox Christian faith and truth. Modern culture attacks the Bible as true history and true science, especially Genesis 1 through 11 with the creation and the early history of life in the earth. Modern culture now has forces inside the visible church working to expand this destruction of Genesis 1 through 11, contrary to a historical, grammatical interpretation of the infallible Bible, the foundation of faith. And lastly, the believing church, that is, people that are really believers, naively attack the products of modern culture, namely abortion, sexual immorality, political statism. By that I mean everything controlled by the government, and various other things. But not the foundation of modern culture, which is atheistic naturalism. The purpose of this Genesis 1 through 11 series is, one, to establish Genesis 1 through 11 as true history and science of origins by using the historical grammatical interpretation. Two, to establish the creation of the universe as occurring and life beginning less than 7,000 years ago. These seem to be absurd, you would say, in a modern age. And thirdly, to establish the creation as occurring in 7 days of 24 hours. This series will deal in depth with Genesis 11 by one, biblical exegesis. Exegesis is drawing out of the text what it means. Eisegesis is the contrary of reading into the text what you want it to mean. Secondly, we'll use multiple disciplines of sciences, and that includes biology, chemistry, physics, and geology, among the others. And lastly, we're going to use history and other fine sources. Some of them are from archaeology and some from written history. Lastly, we would say that naturalism's constantly changing story of the universe's cosmological origin, of its matter and energy, and life's evolutionary origin will be examined. However, naturalism's storyline of a godless universe is always evolving and changing, so that this part of the course will probably be outdated in 50 years. And as we've seen it even in my lifetime in the 50s, I've seen the change of this story taking place dramatically. It used to be a steady state universe. Then it's a catastrophic universe. The biological deals went from, hundreds of millions of years to almost 1 billion years. The life stories keep changing. So this part of the thing we're going to examine so that you understand fully what's taught. But it will be probably outdated in 50 years from now.